Did you listen to any of the arguments?
I did hear the arguments this morning. It's ridiculous to me that you lied on Monday, and yet here we still are.
When Trump's Georgia case began, we all thought it was going to be business as usual. But when the damning truth behind Fani Willis's was revealed, everything changed, and now the tables have turned. Now she's on trial, and the case has been full of scandal, allegations, and unbelievable twists. Let's get to it. Fani Willis's misconduct.
Fulton County DA Fani Willis acted nothing like an experienced prosecutor yesterday, which is probably why she was kept off the stand today.
In the recent hearings of the trial, all eyes were on Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis as she took the witness stand to testify about her alleged affair with Nathan Wade. The courtroom was filled with anticipation as the prosecution and defense teams prepared to question her about the nature of their relationship. However, Fani Willis's testimony was met with skepticism and disbelief. Many described her demeanor as belligerent, evasive, and defiant. It seemed that she was not willing to provide straightforward answers to the questions posed to her. This non-credible testimony raised serious concerns about her integrity and impartiality as a prosecutor. The defense attorneys in the case against former President Donald Trump seized this opportunity to challenge Willis's credibility. They argued that her alleged affair with Nathan Wade, who was her hand-picked prosecutor for the election fraud case, created a clear conflict of interest. The defense team contended that this compromised her ability to fairly and objectively handle the case against Trump. As the cross-examination began, the defense attorneys pressed Willis on the details of her relationship with Wade. They questioned whether their affair had started before Wade was appointed as a special prosecutor. The defense team presented text messages that suggested the relationship had begun prior to Wade's appointment, further fueling the allegations of misconduct. Willis, however, responded to these allegations with evasiveness and defensiveness. She claimed that the relationship did not start until after the case against Trump had already begun. This assertion contradicted the testimony of witnesses who claimed to have seen Willis and Wade kissing prior to that time. The conflicting accounts only added to the confusion and raised doubts about Willis's credibility. Moreover, the defense attorneys raised questions about the financial aspect of the relationship. It was revealed that Willis had reportedly paid Wade a substantial sum of $650,000. This payment raised eyebrows, as Wade had no prior experience in prosecuting felonies. The defense team argued that this payment was a clear indication of favoritism and raised concerns about the legitimacy of their professional relationship. Additionally, there were allegations that Willis used Wade to accompany her on extravagant vacations. The defense team questioned the legitimacy of these trips and whether they were funded by taxpayer money. Willis claimed she had paid Wade back in cash, but she provided no proof to support her claim. The shocking revelations and Willis's evasive responses during her testimony left many in the courtroom stunned. The defense attorneys argued that her behavior on the witness stand was disgraceful and unbecoming of an officer of the court. They called for her removal from the case and for Wade, her married paramour lawyer, to be removed as well. Fani Willis's behavior in court during her testimony has sparked a wave of reactions and strong opinions from various individuals. Observers and legal experts alike were taken aback by her demeanor and conduct on the witness stand. One individual, Joanne Frank from Clearwater, Florida, expressed her disbelief in a letter to an editor. She described Willis as belligerent, evasive, and defiant, using these words to characterize her attitude during the trial. Frank went on to criticize Willis's non-credible testimony regarding the misconduct allegations surrounding her relationship with Nathan Wade. Frank's letter also called for the dismissal of the case against former President Donald Trump and for Willis and Wade to be disbarred. Another letter to the editor, written by Thomas DeJulio from Delray Beach, took a different approach. DeJulio focused on Willis's appointment as a district attorney, suggesting that her affiliation with George Soros played a role in her position. He referred to her as a George Soros appointee and implied that her appointment was an example of diversity, equity, and inclusion (DEI) at work. DeJulio's letter hinted at a larger political agenda behind Willis's actions in the trial. Arthur Gutman from Great Neck raised serious doubts about the credibility of Willis's testimony. In his letter, Gutman pointed out inconsistencies in her statements. He highlighted that witnesses had testified to seeing Willis and Wade kissing prior to the start of the case, contradicting Willis's claim that their relationship began after the case had already begun. Gutman also questioned the financial aspect of their relationship, raising concerns about the legitimacy of the payments made to Wade and the lack of proof provided by Willis. Robert DiNardo from Farmingdale expressed his disappointment in Willis's behavior on the witness stand. DiNardo emphasized that as an officer of the court, Willis should have conducted herself with dignity and professionalism. Instead, he described her as an unhinged, arrogant loudmouth. DiNardo called for Willis to be removed from the case and for Wade, the lead prosecutor, to also be removed due to to their poor character. These letters to the editor reflect the public's reaction to Fani Willis's behavior in court. Many individuals were shocked and disappointed by her conduct, questioning her credibility and ability to serve as a district attorney. The trial had attracted significant attention, and the revelations surrounding Willis's alleged affair and misconduct allegations only added to the public's scrutiny. As the trial continued, the reactions to Willis's behavior in court became a topic of discussion among legal experts and the general public. The shocking nature of her testimony and the allegations against her raised questions about the integrity of the justice system and the fairness of the case against Trump and his co-defendants. Nevertheless, the defense attorneys in the trial wasted no time in cross-examining Terrence Bradley, the star witness, to challenge the credibility of his testimony and shed light on the alleged affair between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. During the cross-examination, the defense attorneys focused on the text messages exchanged between Bradley and Wade, which suggested that the relationship between Willis and Wade began before Wade was appointed as a special prosecutor. Attorney Ashley Merchant, representing Trump co-defendant Mike Roman, questioned Bradley about his previous statement that he believed the relationship started before Willis hired Wade. Bradley confirmed the existence of those text messages, but claimed that he was speculating at the time and did not have direct knowledge of when the relationship began. Merchant pressed Bradley further, asking him where he had heard about the relationship starting before Willis hired Wade. Bradley admitted that no one had directly told him about it and that he was speculating based on the circumstances. This revelation cast doubt on the accuracy of Bradley's claims and raised questions about the reliability of his testimony. The defense attorneys also questioned Bradley about his knowledge of the alleged sexual relations between Wade and Willis in a law office that she was renting. However, Bradley claimed that he did not remember Wade explicitly stating that they had engaged in such activities. This response further weakened the defense's argument and left room for doubt regarding the nature of the relationship. Moreover, the defense attorneys challenged Bradley's credibility by questioning the source of his information about Willis and Wade's vacations together. Bradley had previously mentioned in text messages that the pair had gone on trips, but during the cross-examination, he claimed that any information about the vacations would have come from his client at the time. This inconsistency in Bradley's statements raised concerns about the accuracy of his claims and the reliability of his testimony. Throughout the cross-examination, the defense attorneys highlighted the lack of concrete evidence and direct knowledge on Bradley's part. They argued that his speculations and inconsistencies undermined the credibility of his testimony and called into question the validity of the allegations against Willis and Wade. The defense team also emphasized the uncomfortable nature of Bradley's testimony. His reluctance to be a witness was evident, as he admitted that he did not wish to take the stand. This reluctance further raised doubts about his motivations and the accuracy of his claims. As the cross-examination of Terrence Bradley concluded, the defense attorneys had successfully cast doubt on the credibility of his testimony. The inconsistencies in his statements and his reliance on speculation weakened the prosecution's case and provided ammunition for the defense to challenge the allegations against Willis and Wade. Nevertheless, the allegations of an affair between Willis and Wade are proven true. It could have severe repercussions for both individuals. As a district attorney, Willis is expected to uphold the highest standards of integrity and professionalism. Engaging in an affair with a prosecutor involved in a high-profile case undermines the public's trust in her ability to carry out her duties impartially. The allegations of favoritism and misconduct could lead to serious professional consequences for Willis, including potential disbarment and the loss of her position as district attorney. Similarly, Nathan Wade, as a special prosecutor, has a duty to act in the best interest of justice. If it is proven that he engaged in an affair with Willis and benefited financially from their relationship, it could lead to his disbarment and the loss of his legal license. The allegations of billing irregularities and extravagant vacations raise concerns about his professional conduct and ethics. Beyond the potential legal and professional consequences, the public perception of Willis and Wade has been significantly impacted. The letters to the editor and public reactions have been overwhelmingly critical of their behavior. Many view their actions as a betrayal of the justice system and a breach of trust. The public's perception of their character and integrity has been tarnished, which could have long-lasting effects on their personal and professional reputations. Furthermore, the implications of their alleged affair and misconduct extend beyond the immediate case against Donald Trump. The revelations have raised concerns about the fairness and impartiality of the justice system as a whole. The public may question the integrity of other cases that Willis and Wade have been involved in, potentially leading to a review of their past actions and decisions. Now let me go into the case that brought about the fall of Fani Willis, the Georgia indictment.
There are books that are written on how the election was rigged.
The Trump Georgia case has caused a stir in the political landscape as former U.S. President Donald Trump faces 13 charges related to his alleged attempts to overturn his 2020 election loss in the state. The 98-page indictment issued on the 14th of August accuses Mr. Trump of unlawfully conspiring to change the election outcome while participating in what is described as a criminal enterprise. This case has brought attention to Georgia's Racketeering Act, with Mr. Trump being charged under the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act. The charges include solicitation of violation of oath, conspiracy to impersonate a public officer, conspiracy to commit forgery, and filing false documents. As the trial date approaches, the nation eagerly awaits the outcome of this high-profile case, which could have significant implications for American politics and the rule of law. In this video, we delve into the details of one very interesting thing about this charge is that it invokes the Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations (RICO) Act, a law typically used to bring down notorious mafia bosses. The indictment alleges that Mr. Trump, while associated with an enterprise, unlawfully conspired through a pattern of fraudulent activity to change the outcome of the election. This charge is based on a series of shocking revelations that have emerged during the investigation. Now let's take a closer look at the events that led to this charge. It all began with the 2020 presidential election, a highly contentious and closely contested race. As the results started to favor Joe Biden, Mr. Trump and his legal team launched a series of legal challenges in multiple states, including Georgia. Mr. Trump, in his characteristic style, rallied his supporters, claiming widespread voter fraud and a rigged election. These allegations gained traction, leading to a fervent belief that the election had been stolen from him. The rhetoric escalated, and tensions reached a boiling point. Protests and demonstrations erupted across the country, with Georgia becoming a focal point of the controversy. It was in this charged atmosphere that the investigation into Mr. Trump's alleged actions began. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis, a seasoned prosecutor known for her tenacity, took the lead in launching the investigation. Her team meticulously gathered evidence, interviewed witnesses, and analyzed a vast amount of data to build a case against Mr. Trump. And on that fateful day, the 14th of August, the 98-page indictment was issued, outlining the charges against Mr. Trump and 18 additional defendants, including his former lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. The charge of violating Georgia's Racketeering Act stands out as one of the most significant allegations in the case. The RICO Act, originally enacted to combat organized crime, has rarely been used in cases involving high-profile political figures. Its application in the Trump Georgia case has raised eyebrows and sparked intense debate among legal experts. To understand the gravity of this charge, let's examine some past RICO cases. The act has been instrumental in dismantling powerful criminal organizations, such as the notorious mafia boss John Gotti and his Gambino crime family. It was designed to target individuals who engage in a pattern of racketeering activity, such as bribery, extortion, and fraud, to further their criminal enterprises. In the Trump Georgia case, prosecutors argue that Mr. Trump, while associated with an enterprise, conspired to change the outcome of the election through a pattern of fraudulent activity. The indictment alleges that he used his position and influence to manipulate the electoral process, undermining the integrity of the democratic system. The prosecution has presented a compelling array of evidence to support this charge. Phone records, emails, and witness testimonies paint a picture of a concerted effort to subvert the election results. One key piece of evidence is a series of phone calls between Mr. Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. During these calls, prosecutors allege that Mr. Trump solicited Mr. Raffensperger to unlawfully alter or adjust the certified returns for presidential electors. These shocking revelations have raised questions about the extent to which Mr. Trump was willing to overturn the election outcome. Legal experts have weighed in on the charge of violating Georgia's Racketeering Act. Some argue that the application of the RICO Act, in this case, is a necessary step to hold powerful individuals accountable for their actions. Others express concerns about the potential misuse of the act for political purposes. The outcome of this charge will undoubtedly have far-reaching implications for future cases involving high-profile figures. As the trial date approaches, the nation awaits the courtroom drama that will unfold. The Trump Georgia case has captivated the public's attention, with its shocking allegations and high stakes. Will Mr. Trump be found guilty of violating Georgia's Racketeering Act? Only time will tell. Next, let's delve into another significant charge that former President Donald Trump is facing: solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer. This charge stems from a shocking phone call between Mr. Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, which has become a focal point of the investigation. The indictment alleges that Mr. Trump solicited Mr. Raffensperger to unlawfully alter or adjust the certified returns for presidential electors. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the political landscape, raising questions about the extent to which Mr. Trump was willing to go to overturn the election results. results. Let's dive deeper into the events throughout his campaign and presidency. Mr. Trump had repeatedly claimed widespread voter fraud and a rigged election. These allegations had gained traction among his supporters, fueling a fervent belief that the election had been stolen from him. Against this backdrop, the phone call between Mr. Trump and Secretary of State Raffensperger took place. The call, which lasted for over an hour, was recorded and later made public. Its contents shocked the nation and became a focal point of the investigation into Mr. Trump's alleged actions. The transcript of the call reveals a tense exchange between the two men. Mr. Trump can be heard urging Mr. Raffensperger to find enough votes to overturn the election results in Georgia. He repeatedly claimed that there were irregularities and fraud, despite no substantial evidence to support these claims. The release of the phone call sparked widespread public outrage and further deepened the political divide in the country. Supporters of Mr. Trump defended his actions, claiming that he was merely seeking to uncover the truth about alleged voter fraud. Secretary of State Raffensperger, who found himself at the center of this controversy, stood firm in upholding the integrity of the election. He resisted Mr. Trump's requests and maintained that the election results were accurate. His steadfastness in the face of immense pressure earned him praise from those who saw him as a defender of democracy. The charge of solicitation of violation of oath by a public officer carries significant weight. It strikes at the heart of the oath that public officials take to uphold the Constitution and faithfully execute their duties. The allegations against Mr. Trump raise important questions about the boundaries of presidential power and the responsibility of elected officials to act in the best interest of the nation. Also, this indictment alleges that Mr. Trump unlawfully conspired to influence certain individuals to falsely act as elected officials with intent to mislead. This revelation has sent shockwaves through the political landscape, raising questions about the extent to which Mr. Trump was willing to go to achieve his desired outcome. The indictment names several individuals who allegedly played a role in this conspiracy. While the details of their involvement are still being examined, the prosecution has presented evidence suggesting a coordinated effort to present false information and create a narrative that favored Mr. Trump's desired outcome. The alleged conspiracy involved disseminating false information to key individuals, including lawmakers and election officials. The goal was to create an illusion of widespread voter fraud and irregularities, ultimately casting doubt on the legitimacy of the election results. By impersonating public officers, the conspirators aimed to give their claims an air of credibility and authority. Still, supporters of Mr. Trump argue that the actions were necessary to uncover the truth about the election, while critics view it as a deliberate attempt to undermine the democratic process. The impact of these alleged efforts on public trust and the integrity of the electoral system cannot be overstated. Legal experts have weighed in on the charge of conspiracy to impersonate a public officer. They highlight the significance of this allegation, as it strikes at the core of the democratic process. Impersonating public officials undermines the public's trust in the system and erodes the foundations of a functioning democracy. The outcome of this charge will have far-reaching implications for future cases involving attempts to manipulate elections. The indictment also alleges that Mr. Trump intended to defraud the public by conspiring to make a false document titled Certificate of the Votes of the 2020 Electors from Georgia. This document, if successful, would have portrayed Mr. Trump as the winning candidate in Georgia, despite the certified election results indicating otherwise. The alleged conspiracy involved a deliberate plan to create a false certificate of the votes, complete with fabricated numbers and signatures. The aim was to present this document as legitimate and use it to sway public opinion and cast doubt on the certified election results. The alleged forgery was a calculated attempt to undermine the integrity of the democratic process. The revelation of this alleged conspiracy has sent shockwaves through the nation. The idea that a former president would conspire to forge a document to deceive the public is deeply troubling. It raises questions about the lengths to which individuals may go to manipulate the perception of the truth and undermine the democratic process. Nevertheless, let's not forget these charges are still alleged, and the burden of proof lies on the prosecutors. Now back to Fani Willis. Who really is she? Fani Willis. Fani Willis, born in Inglewood, California in 1971, has a remarkable journey that shaped her into the fearless district attorney she is today. Her father, John C. Floyd III, was a founder of a faction of the Black Panthers, but grew disillusioned by the movement's infighting. When Willis was in the first grade, her family moved to Washington, D.C., where her father practiced law as a criminal defense attorney. Despite her parents' divorce, Willis mostly stayed with her father, who instilled in her a strong sense of justice and a passion for fighting for what is right. Willis's education educational journey began at Regina High School, an all-girls Catholic high school in Maryland. It was during her time at Regina High that she developed a deep interest in law and justice. She excelled academically, demonstrating her intelligence and dedication to her studies. However, her path to success was not without its challenges. Regina High School closed its doors in 1989, but that did not deter Willis from pursuing her dreams. After graduating from Regina High School, Willis set her sights on higher education. She enrolled at Howard University, a prestigious institution known for its commitment to social justice and civil rights. Willis studied political science at Howard, immersing herself in the study of law and politics. Her time at Howard University was transformative as she honed her critical thinking skills and developed a deep understanding of the legal system. In 1993, Willis graduated cum laude from Howard University. Armed with a strong foundation in political science, she was determined to continue her education and pursue a career in law. With Atlanta as her destination, Willis set her sights on Emory University School of Law. At Emory University, she immersed herself in her studies, eager to learn and make a difference in the legal field. In 1996, she achieved her goal and obtained her Juris Doctor degree from Emory University School of Law. With her law degree in hand, Willis was ready to embark on her legal career and make a lasting impact. Willis's early career in law began as a solicitor, where she prosecuted misdemeanors and city ordinance violations. This experience allowed her to gain valuable courtroom experience and develop her skills as a prosecutor. After her time as a solicitor, Willis joined the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, where she would spend the next 16 years of her career. During her tenure, Willis handled a wide range of cases, but it was her involvement in the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal that brought her national recognition. As an assistant district attorney at the time, Willis served as the lead prosecutor in the trial of 12 educators accused of correcting answers entered by students to inflate the scores of state-administered standardized tests. His high-profile case not only exposed the flaws in the education system, but also tested Willis's skills as a prosecutor. Her approach to the case led to the conviction of 11 of the 12 educators on racketeering charges under Georgia's RICO statute in April 2015. The successful prosecution of the Atlanta Public Schools cheating scandal catapulted Willis into the spotlight. Throughout her career as a prosecutor, she handled a wide range of cases, from violent crimes to white-collar offenses, always striving to hold those responsible accountable for their actions. In 2018, after a career as a prosecutor, Willis decided to venture into private practice. This move allowed her to broaden her legal expertise and gain a different perspective on the justice system. Nevertheless, she came back to the public sector. In 2019, Willis took on the role of Chief Municipal Judge for South Fulton, Georgia. In this position, she presided over cases involving city ordinance violations and misdemeanors. In 2020, Fani Willis made history when she was elected as the district attorney for Fulton County, Georgia. Her victory over Paul Howard Jr., a six-term incumbent and her former boss, marked a significant turning point in her career and solidified her position as a trailblazer in the legal field. As the first woman to hold this esteemed office, Willis was determined to make a lasting impact on the criminal justice system. One of the hallmarks of Willis's tenure as district attorney has been her interesting use of Georgia's RICO, Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations statute. Traditionally associated with prosecuting organized crime syndicates, Willis has expanded its application to target non-mobsters involved in criminal enterprises. By utilizing the RICO statute, Willis has been able to dismantle complex criminal networks and hold individuals accountable for their involvement in various illicit activities. Beyond her use of the RICO statute, Willis has also prioritized community engagement and collaboration. She has worked closely with law enforcement agencies, community organizations, and victim advocates to ensure that the voices of the community are heard and that justice is served. Her dedication to building strong relationships and fostering trust has been instrumental in creating a safer and more just Fulton County. One of the most significant moments in Fani Willis's career as district attorney of Fulton County, Georgia, came when she launched an investigation into the 2020 presidential election. In February 2021, Willis made headlines as she delved into allegations of election interference and attempts to influence Georgia election officials. The focus of Willis's investigation centered around former President Donald Trump and his alleged co-conspirators. It was alleged that Trump had made attempts to sway Georgia election officials, including the governor, the attorney general, and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, in an effort to overturn Joe Biden's win in the state and undo the results of the 2020 presidential election. In January 2022, Willis took a significant step forward in the investigation by requesting a special grand jury to consider charges of election interference by Trump and his allies. This move demonstrated her commitment to pursuing justice and holding those responsible accountable for their actions. Months of tireless work culminated in May 2023, when a 26-member special grand jury was given investigative authority and subpoena power. Their task was to determine whether a crime had been committed and to submit a report to the judge and Willis. She sent target letters to individuals involved in the alleged fake electors plot, including Republican officials and those who falsely presented themselves as electors. Willis's actions sent a clear message that no one, regardless of their political affiliation or position, is above the law. The special grand jury conducted a thorough investigation, hearing from 75 witnesses, including former U.S. Senator Kelly Loeffler, former White House counsel Pat Cipollone, and possibly Sidney Powell. Their testimonies provided crucial insights into the events surrounding the 2020 presidential election. On January 9, 2023, the special grand jury completed its work and was dissolved. The culmination of their efforts came on February 16th, when, following a judge's order, parts of the report were released to the public. Fani Willis's office indicted Donald Trump and 18 alleged co-conspirators on 41 charges related to racketeering and other crimes on August 14, 2023. However, since it's been revealed that she's having an affair with Nathan Wade, a prosecutor on the Trump Georgia case, her world has been crashing down. How could someone who claimed to be upright be found wanting in such a manner? And just like that, now she's the one on trial. Thanks for watching. Click on the videos on your screen for similar content.